Hi there, in this video I'm going to talk about the 5 important steps to content planning, to content production in order to avoid burnout. Because a lot of times we get into the flow of creating content, creating, you're putting a lot of stuff out, you're putting a lot of energy out, and then you get drained, you get frustrated, and you're just burnt out. You get to that point where you're like, I can't even create another single piece of content. Has that ever happened to you? So in this video, I'm going to share with you your 5-step process to content creation and content production so that you don't get burnt out doing what you love, right? This is going to be fun. Step number 1 is to always do a time audit. Now, this is very crucial and something that I don't see a lot of content creators do, which is kind of sad. Like, what I basically mean by a time audit is simply you want to be able to analyze for whatever content it is that you are producing, even if it's like video production, editing a video, whatever kind of creative process that you're involved in. How long does it take? It may seem like a lot of work, but believe me when I tell you that it will save you so much time in the future. So you need to be able to understand, okay, on average, right? Because sometimes it may not be like really easy to get like straightforward numbers, but on average, let's say you write blogs, right? You're like a blog writer, or yeah, let's just say you're a blog writer. So every week you're expected to produce 2 blog posts every single week. Now, you need to understand, first of all, what are the steps involved in my content creation process, which is the blog creation process. Okay, maybe I'll research for the topic, and then I'll put together like a rough draft, and then I'll get images, and then I'll write the actual thing, and then I'll proofread it, and then finally I publish it. Do you see like all those steps? How long does that take on an average? So if, for example, it's going to take you literally a whole day to write a blog post. Now, if you're writing 2 blog posts per week, that is feasible, right? Because yeah, you are able to, if you have 5 days, 5 working days. So if you take a whole day, write one, you can even give yourself like 2 days in between and then another whole day to write the second one. So think about this in your content creation process as well. And this is why it's important to do a time audit. Depending on what kind of content you create, you need to understand how much time actually goes into this thing. Because if you don't understand how much time, that's when you see procrastination will begin to crawl in. Because you are going to tell yourself, oh, I can create 5 videos in a day, when it actually takes you 5 hours for one video. What kind of mathematics is that? So think about it very critically, right? For whatever kind of content that you produce, what is the time that goes into it? Now, remember that content creation, it doesn't just stop at the point where, okay, let's say, for example, you're a photographer. You have shot the video, you've edited the video. Probably you want to share it to like your social media pages, or you want to even share it to email. So you have to also factor in that time. How long does it take me to schedule something to social media? How long does it take me to schedule something to email? I'm saying scheduling because I'm assuming that you're scheduling your content and not just posting stuff randomly. We need to talk about that in another video, but yeah, another video. So like I said, you need to understand the time that goes into all these different things so that you don't set yourself up for burnout. The easiest way that people set themselves up for burnout is expectations. Something that takes you literally 5 hours to do, you're thinking in your brain that you're going to do it in 1 hour. Like, I would, I have time today. I would just, and before you know what's happening, the whole day has passed. And you put your checklist that was supposed to be 5 things, you've only done 1 thing. And now you begin to feel bad about the thing that you are not able to do, even though you really wouldn't have been able to do it. I hope I'm making sense. Now, like I said, the very first step is to do a time audit. Understand how long it actually takes you to do things. You may want to, take up your phone and put like a timer, because a lot of times we underestimate these things. And I say this from experience. I used to be at the point where I would say to myself, I'm sure I can create a blog post within an hour. And then I would start writing the blog post, and before you know, it's like 3 hours have passed and 4 hours have passed and I've not finished. And this is me that said 1 hour. So the very first step is to always be realistic, set a time audit, and understand how long it takes. The second step is do not reinvent the wheel. Now, what this simply means is that for things that have already been done, or you already have like a shortcut, please go ahead and use that shortcut. I'll give you an example. If you go through your social media, look at the content that performs the best. Do people really like and really engage when you post like photographs as opposed to graphics? That's telling you that you need to post more photographs. Do people engage more when you post like infographics? that means you need to post more infographics. The same thing with looking at your competitors' accounts. This is not like in a negative spying kind of way. It's just kind of understanding the numbers and what the numbers are saying. If something is already working well, please do not try to test out, wonderful things on your with your content creation. Understand what works well with your audience and just stick to that. The same thing with content research. So for example, when I say to people a lot of times that setting up a content calendar takes me literally like 30 minutes to an hour, and that's just the honest truth. Why? Because when I do content research, I simply go and look for what other people have created and then add my own creative twist. I may just have a few pieces of content that's like original content to me, but a lot of times it doesn't pay to reinvent the wheel. You're just giving yourself a lot of stress for something that you're not even sure is going to work. So do your research. Look at what is trending. Look at what people are looking for right now. Look at what is working for other people, and then add your own creative twist on it, rather than just sitting down and trying to think up original content every single time. It's perfect to do this once in a while, but not every single time. So please do not reinvent the wheel. It will lead you to being tired, being exhausted, and then you may just give up on the whole content creation process and say, there's no need to create anything. I'm just going to, do my thing. Don't do that. My third tip when it comes to content creation to avoid burnout, it's funny, but it's true. It is to delegate or eliminate. Delegate or eliminate. If you have a team, this is pretty, kind of a little bit simple, maybe not so simple if you are struggling to delegate tasks out to your team, but you want to be able to either delegate, look at the task that you have at hand, you either delegate it to someone on your team or you remove it altogether. I don't have time for this, I'm not going to do it. The world is not going to end if you don't, add that one extra step. Nothing is going to happen. It's much better than just continuously procrastinating. So again, coming to the blog example. So let's say you write blogs and every week you're expected to write 2 blogs. Something that you could easily delegate is, looking for images. You could just give that to someone else and say, oh, hey, these are the kind of images I'm looking for. Can you please help me find? Or you could actually delegate the process of proofreading. You could finish writing your blog and then just give it to someone else to proofread for you. Another thing you could delegate is actually publishing the blog. So let's say you're not very tech savvy and it takes you a really long time to actually get it on your website or get it on WordPress or whatever. You could simply just delegate that to a member of your team to say, okay, I've written this blog, it has been proofreaded, everything is good to go, publish it, right? So depending on what your creative process, you can apply this to photography as well. You can apply this to literally any creative process. What is something that you can either delegate to someone else or eliminate altogether? Again, the world is not going to end if you simply remove one process that is not a must-have. You need to understand what is a must-have and what is a nice-to-have. So if you cannot delegate it, then you probably should just let it go and move on so that your content creation process can continue rather than it pausing and you're procrastinating and nothing gets done. The fourth step in content creation to avoid burnout is to automate as much as you can. Now, when it comes to, passing tasks along, I have mentioned delegate, eliminate, and then there is automate. Automate is simply, okay, I can't, delegate this to a human being, so I'm going to automate the process. A very simple example of automation is scheduling social media. So if, for example, you know that you want to be able to post to your social media maybe every day, or maybe 3 times a day, 3 times a week, or 4 times a week, all depending on you, why not automate that process? You don't physically have to come in every single day and actually schedule a social media post. It's the same thing with email. If you want to venture into email marketing, right, and now you're thinking, okay, even if it's 10 people on your list, I want to be able to send out an email every week or every 2 weeks, you don't have to be the person to do it. For every single task that you have on your content creation process, think about, is it possible to automate this? Because a lot of times we live in such a tech-savvy world that it may actually be possible to automate some of these things. You probably just haven't checked, or you haven't looked, or you haven't found something. And then my final tip is to repurpose as much content as possible. This is like so important. You don't always have to be creating content. You can simply just look for something that worked. I'm telling you, look for something that worked in the past and then put it out again. A lot of people struggle to think that, oh no, people will notice. They'll say, has this person run out of content? They don't have any ideas. How can you? Believe me, the people that matter don't mind, and the people that mind don't matter. You can absolutely repurpose content. You can bring out something that you posted in 2020 and kind of, maybe reframe the words a little bit, publish it again. You can look for a blog post or a guest blog post or a podcast or something they featured you in at some time, and you bring it and you publish it again. Just repurpose as much content as possible. Because the truth is that a lot of times we can be busy human beings. Not all the time, but a lot of times we can be busy human beings. And you may not even just have, let's say every week you used to have like 5 hours a week to be able to create content for social media, but now you have like 1 hour. It's life, it happens. What do? Rather than recreating content all over again, why not just repurpose content? Look for something that worked really well in the past, bring it back again, twist the words up a little bit, and now you have a week's worth of content ready and good to go in the shortest amount of time. So this is my 5-step process to content creation and content publishing in a way that doesn't lead to burnout. Let me know in the comments if you found this video helpful, and let me know what you would love me to speak on next. Bye.